Hey, it's Dan McDonald, and I'm the Life Regenerator here on YouTube. Today I've got a protocol to help you to dissolve biofilm mucus to get rid of the parasites, the bacteria, the fungus, the yeast, the mold, and the viruses that are the underlying precursors of dis-ease in the body. Before I get started though, I just wanted to tell you that I'm on day 2 of a water fast and my energy's starting to dip, particularly as I went to set this up and get this video started. I've got one more day off. It's Sunday today, the 2nd. And so before I go back to work full time, I just wanted to bust out one last video. And this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. And the reason being is because it is so unknown. In fact, health is almost really unknown. The younger folks, we get away with a lot because of the grace of the universe and the brilliant intelligence of nature, which has all these mechanisms in place to try to keep the organism alive as much as possible. So it's always doing damage control, 24/7, 365, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The physical organism is doing damage control, but really where that damage control comes from, or the continual desire to harmonize the organism, is actually the divine intelligence. So within the first 2 minutes, we got to the real secret of health, which no one seems to know. None of my teachers or mentors or anyone else or any literature I've ever read has ever really shared what's been coming up for me. And I think it's pretty amazing, and it'll definitely be part of my message in the future, and it's going to be a real game changer. I'm still working with the concept myself of the divine intelligence, and hopefully what I'll do is learn the art and master the surrendering into the divine intelligence so that this potential here can arise itself. Until then, it's really nice to have some practical tools that we can use on a daily basis if we're dealing with obesity, diabetes, bad breath, body odor, colds, flus, here's the whole, conspiracy thing, virus stuff. But all those are simple manifestations. All the diseases are acute symptomology of the divine intelligence, of nature, working to keep you as balanced and harmonized and healthy as possible. It wants to maximize your lifespan. And unfortunately, our human social patternings and lifestyles, the corporate industrialized society, is way off a track. And so we never really get to experience our potential, except for those very few who go against the grain. While all the sheep are kind of just going over the cliff, the black sheep turns around and goes the other way because for some reason they intuitively know, probably after many, many lifetimes of living on this planet, they're like, I already know this one, it's deep in my soul, because they're more in tune with the holy scroll that's written on their heart, and they're more in tune with it. Usually through trauma, pain, suffering, adversity, they become more sensitive souls and are like, I'm going to listen to myself, When everyone else is screaming at you to listen to your doctor, you're saying, well, my doctor, he's 100 pounds overweight, and doctors only live to be an average age of about 54. So I think I'm going to maybe go the black sheep way and follow another black sheep that has all these alternative ideas on how to dissolve these biofilms so that they're not constantly producing all the parasites and the bacteria that live and thrive in these polysaccharide biofilms in our guts, producing waste matter and then growing and proliferating by breaking off of these polysaccharide capsules and then spreading all throughout the body. So what I'm going to show you today, enough of the philosophy, I'm going to show you the practical tools on how you can, dissolve these biofilms. So let's just get right straight into it. It's a protocol. Water is always first thing in the morning, right? Lemon water or whatever it is that you like to do. I've got some plain old distilled water. That's my favorite. Then I'll restructure it. I like to have just pure water. Then I like to structure it myself with the consciousness that I want. In this case, I'm going to bring in the hydrogen. I'm going to toss in a couple. You only really need to throw in one, but I like a little extra hydrogen. So hydration. Can you dig it? Now look, you see the little bubbles, the hydrogen bubbles coming up. So you let that sit for a minute. I'm super thirsty. I haven't really drank anything in 2 days. I always like to start off my fasts with just dry fasts. And that's probably the reason why I'm a little bit tepid and kind of a little bit mentally sluggish right now. My brain is like, where's my glucose, man? But anyhow, I'm going to take a little sip. Oh, God. So this is the hydrogen from SuperCells. And it's very good to start out the day to get the hydration started, which is going to be a huge key component to the dissolution of these biofilms, okay? Because that's what you're trying to do, is create a scenario where you are flushing away the biofilms. And those come from the bacteria and the parasites and the fungus that are living off the types of foods. And you know me, I've been talking about this for years. You're crazy, you can't just eat fruits and vegetables. But actually you can. And so what's interesting is that the fruits, the fresh, whole, raw, organic, whole foods are the best foods that digest themselves. You have to understand that if you cook the food on the stove, it's already dead, and you've accelerated the decomposition process. So already by the time you microwave, cooked, baked, fried your food, it's already dead and in a state of microbial decomposition, which is actually supposed to happen. It's supposed to start in your mouth and then continue on in your stomach, move to the small intestine, and then by the time it's in the large intestine, then it's supposed to start the process of fermentation through the beneficial microorganisms that produce the metabolites that give you life, that feed your glands, that feed your blood and feed your brain and your serotonin and dopamine. Because you want to use the gut to promote the proliferation of beneficial microorganisms for beneficial metabolites. As science is very young, in fact, there really isn't anything on it yet, but in the next 10 to 20 years, we're going to start to see the relationship between these whole unprocessed foods versus their cooked counterparts and the difference that it makes when it comes to biofilms in the gastrointestinal tract, because all disease begins and ends in the colon, okay? And so does your brain fog, and so does your consciousness is greatly affected by the gut. Or not your consciousness per se, but your relationship to consciousness in and of itself. So the more mentally, the more clear your gut is, the more clear your mind will be, the more you're able to become aware of the consciousness, the divine consciousness, the eternal self, the source energy that is whole and complete. And the more you can surrender the layers of the onion to get to the core, the less disease you're going to experience. And the reason why we're getting dis-ease is because we're out of balance with that harmonization, which is the divine intelligence, which requires surrender of the programs of society and family and educational institutions and the media, etc. So here's my new favorite saying. Today's science is tomorrow's ignorance. Today's truth is tomorrow's truth. So therefore, align yourself with truth. And like I said, if you can learn to close your eyes and sit still, you can ask any question. And if you have enough faith, the truth will come to you via your own divine self. That's your greatest teacher. If anything, I want to be a guide to help people to remember that the truth is already in them, and they have a reservoir, an infinite reservoir of knowledge inside of them. And one of the greatest mistakes we make is to put too much emphasis on acquiring information outside of ourselves, which can be true, but the greatest teacher, I think, is going to point you back to yourself to learn to trust yourself, your intuition, your instincts. Okay? Amen. So there's the hydrogen water. Gray water. It's one of the secrets of the most long-lived cultures in our society. They drink highly hydrogenated gray water from the glacial melt. So this is our way of getting that gray water where people live to be like 120 years old, because they're saturating their body with these life-giving elements that's actually in the gray water. And then when we get in our society, we got the pipes and the copper and the lead, and it's coming from this thing, and there's all this stuff out of the sky, and there's all these things in it. And then when you distill it and you see what's in the bottom, what you're showering in, bathing in, and a lot of people drink that stuff. And when you see the distiller, you see what's in the bottom. In some places like New York, there'll actually be feces in the bottom. In other places, there's a lot of pharmaceutical drugs. In other places, this isn't too bad. It's just more of an interesting slime. When I was in Hawaii, it was more of a calcium type lime deposit. So everywhere you go, when you distill the water, it boils it, and then this condenses it, and then it goes into here, and you've got pure H2O. Then you can take it, and you can do music, you can do a little thing on the top, you can set it on on top of a key code, which is one of the things that I do. Sacred geometry, if you will. This one is actually, this is the key code of clarity, so it has an intention. I mean, you got to be kind of a little bit more advanced in your consciousness to understand intention and frequency, but so you can use anything to structure the water. So you always start the day with 16. I'm a big boy. I go to hot yoga every day, so I do 32 ounces. Which ends the nice little dry fast there to just kick in the fasting process. So that's going to be, you want to kind of try to drink that, but I'm not going to go too hard on that right now. So now let's get started with the protocol. Thanks for letting me share my little philosophy. I kind of enjoy this because I think that if it was me, this is what I would want to know. Like, this is what I love knowing, this stuff that I'm sharing with you. I'm so glad that I know what I know in today's world. And I don't argue with anybody, but I see that I have a good understanding of what's going on right now. And then a lot of my friends and family do not, So I like to investigate things. I like to know what I'm eating. I like to know what's being, shot into me and things like that. I want to know what are the ingredients, and then you can study those individual ingredients and then make more informed decisions. So you don't really want to get sick in the first place. Then you can avoid all this. You're like, listen, I'm not going to get sick. And they say, no, you will, you'll get attacked. No, I won't, because I'm not going to live a lifestyle that's going to allow myself to become super slimed up with these biofilm mucus caked on, saturated biofilms. And I will tell you, I have fasted on water many times, and you will see things come out of you that you cannot believe. And that's the reason why people are tired, have diseases, don't smell good, don't feel good, foggy brain, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, gut problems, inflammation. Because the little microbes that are living inside these anaerobic biofilms, that's one of the reasons why you bring in the hydrogen water, and I'll be bringing in the oxygen next, and that's why I like the highly oxygenated live foods, because you have anaerobic microbes safely tucked away in these thick walls of caked on polysaccharide mucus proliferating out of control, and then those microorganisms poop. And their poop stinks because they are already, you fried everything on the stove, it's already been accelerated. That's an accelerated decomposition. You see, your body should be the oven. And then by the time it gets to your large colon and you poop it out, that's about the time it starts to become real problematic. Okay? But if you take it from the stove and with heat, accelerate the decomposition process through heat, then it's already decomposed before you got it, and and then all the oxygen is cooked out of it as well, all the fiber has been destroyed, all the hydrogen, it's all gone out of the cooked food. And now you're putting in this decomposed pile of stuff that instantaneously begins the process of leaving behind those residues, those mucus residues that these anaerobic type pathogenic microorganisms can live off of. So we're trying to bring in or eliminate the thick mucus forming foods that create those bacterias that then begin the process of, because they've got plenty of food, then they start to build those biofilms because that's their nature. And then they're able to really proliferate out of control because they're living inside those biofilms, and it can be very difficult to get rid of them. That's why the 3-day smoothie cleanse or the 21-day detox, it's a nice idea, but this is like, if you're really going to do it, if you've been living anywhere near a standard lifestyle, then you've got it. We've all got it. And believe me, there's like the levels to this of cleansing and detox. You don't want to be a hypochondriac and not have any fun with your life. But I'm just talking about that most people are unwell or have latent disease building in their body as we speak. And this is a whole nother direction of the black sheep turning around and going, hey, I'm going to figure out detox, regeneration. I'm going to figure out this whole thing with my gut. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to get my lymphatic system clean. I'm going to get my blood pumping through, highly oxygenated. I'm going to clarify my brain. I'm going to get rid of all this brain sand and brain debris, and I'm going to get rid of all this inflammation, and I'm going to feel good. And it's like, oh God, how could you do that? They're going to put you down, and because you make them feel bad because you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to do it. Anyhow, let's go on to the next real quick. So the first step in the biofilm protocol, aside from the water and the hydrogen, is the Puradyme cleanse. Boom. This is an herbal formula that is going to begin the process of softening and eliminating the biofilms. Now, there's a brilliant ingredient in here, and that is the psyllium husk. The number one ingredient is hibiscus flower. The second ingredient is psyllium husk. And it's got peppermint and licorice and cascara and luthero root. Now the licorice and the cascara are the two main ingredients that soften the biofilm. As it goes down inside the gut, it softens up the biofilm without, like the harsh laxatives are like poisonous. And so you eat the harsh laxatives, and then the body's like, we got to get rid of this. And it blows out everything that it can, because the ingredients in these more pharmaceutical type laxatives are toxic, and the body wants to eliminate it. But it doesn't really loosen up the hard cake. So you get some relief, but it's explosive and it's not very good for the microorganisms, and it kind of destroys your healthy gut. What you have here as an herbal formula is that it's not going to be this huge explosive thing. You'll notice it, but it's gentle, nurturing, slow and steady. So the cascara and the licorice, as it softens, then the psyllium husk has two different amazing benefits, and that is that the number one is that it has this nice scraping effect because it is an insoluble fiber. But there's also soluble fiber, which then begins to bulk. So it's a brilliant thing. So as the cascara and the licorice is loosening everything up, the psyllium husk is bulking up and scraping the walls. And then, later on the next day, usually after you've taken the cleanse, you'll start to see these nice, well-formed, very floaty kind of bowel movements. So the cleanse capsules, usually what you do for your first juice in the day to dissolve the biofilms is you take whatever juice you've got. This is actually a gorilla milk. I just grabbed some stuff that I've got out of the fridge. And so normally this would be like a lemon ginger blast. If you're on a budget, you can use carrot apple ginger juice. You can use celery juice, cucumber juice, watermelon juice, orange juice, whatever. I want to point out to you that the cleanse, you can actually take the cleanse with your hydrogen water. I know I'm going to get a little, it might get a little confusing here. I apologize. This came at the last minute. And I've gone over this protocol many times. And then for me, what I've done is I've got a little bit of a range to play with. And generally, I've found over the years of working with lots of people is that they want things a little bit more concise. So I apologize that I didn't have a concise idea of what I wanted to do this morning. But basically, you've got to get the cleanse in there. And the way you do that is either just you can take these 8 cleanse with your water, or you can also take this cleanse powder. You do get more for your money. Somebody actually buys this. One of my viewers here, they buy the cleanse and then they cap it up themselves, which may be a little bit outside of your range, but I thought that's pretty brilliant actually. But the cleanse here in the powder form is very good with grapefruit juice, apple juice, orange juice. You can put it in water if you want. And I think the grapefruit juice is the best. I also like orange juice as well, but apple juice also works as well. And you just take this and you just put 1 tablespoon. And if you want to go big and really see the effects of the cleanse, you can take 2 tablespoons. I would start off with just 1. You just put 1 tablespoon in 16 ounces because you don't really want to knock back like 32 ounces of the cleanse. I've said this many times before, I'll say it again. I give it like a 5 out of 10 for flavor. It's not the worst thing, but it isn't the most pleasant either. So you don't really want to make like a 32 ounce cleanse. You can, and I've done it before. But normally I just try to fill this up like 3/4 of the way with OJ or grapefruit, and then put my scoop into the jar, mix it up, and then just knock that back so that you're not chugging a whole 32 ounce of this cleanse product, which, like I said, it's like, it's weird because it's like sometimes it seems more enjoyable than others. It's kind of one of those weird things. That's why I say I give it a 5 out of 10. Because like when you're chugging something that's a healthy thing and it's like, oh, this is, you're like really chugging it. And then there's other things that are like amazing, like a lemon ginger blast or like orange juice. You know, or like Shilajit is kind of like, it's like a 5 out of 10 too, you know what I mean? But the cleanse is like 5 out of 10, so you just want to drink just a little bit, and then you can drink whatever else afterwards. But you just take the cleanse product, you know, and you start off slow, and then if it doesn't really affect you in a negative way, you can kind of keep increasing it, especially if you've got like a gut, or you really know that you're not absorbing and utilizing your nutrition, because the biofilms will keep you from absorbing your nutrition. It will keep you from, the biofilms also can block up blood flow, oxygen utilization. So human beings are basically walking around with layers and layers of different types of protein, fat, plaques, and biofilms. So we're trying to dissolve all those with the diet, the lifestyle, and in the end, juice fasting and water fasting, or fruitarianism, and then you can start all over, and then you can learn how to balance it better as you go through the building phases. But step one is, at least for the first Puradyme, is the cleanse. That's the first thing you do in the morning. That's the first supplement that you take. So I guess I'll see if I can make some sense out of all this on the camera. How about that? Yeah. So that's the cleanse. And then, so here's the water, and then the cleanse. We'll see if I can just make a visual here of something that's a little bit reasonable. And so it's kind of like this, because then, because what I'll do is I'll take, I'm sorry, I normally like to have like a perfect little plan, but again, I was in the bathtub, and I was like, dude, it's Sunday, I got one more day off, you know. I was doing some research in the bathtub, and I just got this, I was like, I got to make one more video about all this stuff, and how the gut health, you know, determines the brain function and immunity. So it only took me 30 minutes to get around to the immunity part, whereas like it's like you can't blame anything outside yourself. It's the easy way. That's the way of the pharmaceuticals. There's this invisible thing that's coming to get you, this boogeyman, the germ theory. Sorry, it's not true. It just isn't. I'm not a medical doctor, and this is not medical advice, thank God, because that just means that they just suppress the symptoms all the time with drugs and surgeries and stress and fear, and oh my God, you have 6 months to live. It's like, whoa, hold on, I'm not going to sucker. I'm not taking that thought in. And that's fear, major, because that's what they're taught. I have a toenail fungus. Oh, you have 6 months to live. Chemotherapy, we're going to chop it off. It's like, wait a minute, Mama. There's got to be some other kind of, I'm going to try to check out this dude on YouTube and see what he says first. Oh, don't cut it out. Clean it out. Because the doctors and the medical establishment, they put a black tape over the check engine light. The rejuvenator says, you got to go to the mechanic. And you got to be your own mechanic. You got to get in there and you got to do the mechanical work of changing. You got to change your oil. You got to bore out the pistons if you've gotten that far down into it. You know what I'm saying? You need a fuel filter change. You might need to replace the fuel lines, maybe the spark plugs. Can you dig it? And that's what we're doing here today. Okay, so I'm your body mechanic. You are your body mechanic. And the divine intelligence is the ultimate mechanic. And as you surrender into that and learn to develop a relationship with the divinity in you, it will talk to you and it will guide you. Far better than any dude in a white lab coat or a dude on YouTube either. You know what I'm saying? So cleanses first. Second is the herbal blood, which is anti-parasitic, antiviral, antifungal, anti-mold. It's a blood cleanser. So so what I do first is actually take, let's see where we at there. How's that? I take 8 Purazyme. These are medical grade, therapeutic, highly concentrated with a lot of protease, a lot of amylase, and a lot of lipase, 3 times as much. Super concentrated enzymes which begin the process of helping to break down the biofilm mucus. Then, right shortly after, with your lemon ginger, with your first juice of the day, which the only real confusing part I wanted to say was, if you choose to do the powder cleanse, you take that with orange juice or grapefruit juice, that might be your first juice of the day. If you take the capsules with the water, then the lemon ginger blast or a green juice or the carrot apple ginger, or you could even use the Heal All Detox Juice here. Any juice, just liquid juice. So you're using juice which is freshly pressed organic fruits, vegetables, and herbs with a slow press juicer. This is the Green Star Pro, which I love. I've used many juicers, and there's no such thing as a bad juicer, but some have much higher levels of extraction than others. This one really gets it out. It's got some other features too. I can make nut butter, ice cream, and stuff like that, which I will do when I come back. I got a million things. I got a whole academy coming on my Patreon, and I'm going to sit right here this spring. I'm going to bust out a bunch of 3-hour-long educational videos on everything that has to do with the preparation of living foods, because the living foods are the non-decomposed foods. They're the fresh and alive, and you eat it, then it goes through the process of decomposition, and by the time it gets to your butt and you poop it out in the toilet, that's when the problem begins. That's why when you are on the live foods, your poop is like, okay, it's cool. It's not like I want to sit here and smell that all day. But when you go into the normal bathrooms, people are really rotten and festering from the inside out. And they're really decaying and dying slowly. And it stinks. And it's bad breath. And it's sluggishness and tiredness. And it's nutrient deficiencies, okay? So the Purazyme, 8 of those, and then 8 of the herbal blood. So the Purazyme breaks up the biofilm, and the herbal blood begins to irritate the fungus and the mold and the bacteria and the parasites. And they don't like it. And they're like, dude, whatever. And so I have a friend that's on this protocol, and she's been, she spent one day vomiting up like a lot of blood. Okay? Now, does that mean that these supplements are causing her to bleed? No. That blood is inflammation that's been in there from a long time, and you probably won't see the inflammation or the old blood from the inflammation coming out from the cleanse because of its color. It's kind of purple and red. You won't see the blood, but if you go and you take a colonic, which I highly recommend, through this process about, once a week in the very beginning, if you're really in it to win it and you have a chronic condition you want to get rid of, and then more of a maintenance thing like once a month, or really a series of like 6 or 8 colonics once a year within a 1 or 2 month period. You know what I'm saying? But when you have the pure water and you've been on this protocol for a while, you'll see old blood, which is inflammation from all the strange foods that we eat in our society. You'll see that old blood come out. Now, very few people actually vomit that much blood that I saw. I saw the picture. But a lot of people will eliminate blood out of the colon. And if it's in the presence of these herbal products, they do not create blood. It's the diet, it's the stress, and it's the inflammatory foods that are really wreaking havoc inside your gastrointestinal tract, and your body is releasing coagulated blood. Okay, so Purazyme, herbal blood with your first juice. Okay, now that is kind of step 2. So cleanse is step 1, Purazyme and herbal blood is step 2, and then the I got another juice here, and usually I should have actually, this should be reversed as a matter of fact, but the color looked better on the camera. So this is the, again, I didn't have a perfect little plan laid out, so I apologize for the last minuteness. I'll try to, next time I'm going to be like laser sharp and have a nice perfect plan and everything, and just that way there's no confusion. But as long as you get the essence of it, you really don't have to, however you do this, and then finally here what I did for this, another juice here. And by the way, I forgot to throw this in, so I'm just way out of whack today, but last minute threw it all together. I throw in for this juice here, what I do with my lemon ginger blast pretty much every day, lemon ginger blast, is I put oxygen, SuperCells oxygen, which anaerobic microbes, oxygen, like adios suckers. So when you do this, they just gotta go. They gotta go, and the critters are making everyone crazy, you know, and unwell, because it really affects your mind and your consciousness. But like, let's say this is, the reason why I put this is because I wanted to try to mimic the fact that it was a lemon ginger blast, but it's not. Because I didn't want to make a whole lemon ginger blast. I don't even have the stuff because I'm fasting, so I'm just trying to schlep my way through this, because this is one last thing, like, because everybody needs to know, like, if you're going to do better in 2022, you got to get rid of the biofilms. And everybody's got them, unless you've been eating like fruit and vegetables for like 20 years or something. You know what I'm saying? So this is the Heal All juice, and it is made with apple, carrot, beet, lemon, ginger, cucumber, and celery. Okay? And so that's the Heal All Detox Juice. And so what I do is put the SuperCells oxygen, a capful in there. That way you're bringing, you know, oxygen down and just flushing it all out. You're like blasting them, these anaerobic microbes with oxygen. And so they're like, well, we're out of here. You know, they're going to have to leave. What you want to do is create an environment that's so electrical, so hydrated, with so much oxygen and so much living fiber that they just leave. They just say, well, this guy's no longer a viable host, and we've got to go. And you just push them out. You're basically, you know, getting rid of an old roommate. You know, they're getting evicted. It's like, I am no longer a viable host because I gave up the pizza, I gave up the stress, I gave up the donuts, I gave up the sugar, I gave up the deep fried foods and the low quality fats. I eliminated cooked foods as much as possible. There is a use sometimes to slow down the cleansing process by bringing in steamed vegetables, just for that mechanical sweeping again of the biofilms. But if you overcook the vegetables, you'll kill all the cellulose, which has that sweeping property. So you want to lightly steam your vegetables, because remember that the fruit, apples, oranges, etc., are way more cleansing. Grapes, and for some people that's too much, but those are the most cleansing, most oxygen rich, blood purifying, solvent type foods. That's why the fruit, and it just keeps, you can cleanse out all the biofilms with fruit. But most people, that's so intense that bringing in the steamed vegetables can be helpful to slow it down, put on the brakes a little bit, and then you can just have like a nice big giant plates of broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, carrots, whatever. And that can help to not only take the edge off of the work that you're doing internally, but it can also be a nice mechanical action to kind of keep moving forward while you move towards the live, fresh, wholesome foods, which, by the way, every single animal in nature is 100% live foodist. Every animal, every microbe, every tree, every form of life. Then you've got the humans. And they're arguing about, you know, what kind of chemicals we should inject into each other to make up for all the diseases that are caused by the chemicals. So it's like chemicals, 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 chemicals. Toxins, toxins, toxins everywhere we go. And then you're supposed to be the weird one, but you're actually the smart one. So don't let anybody get down on your trip. Like, detox is real in a majorly toxic world where it's in the air, the water, the food, pesticides, everything. And then it's all cooked and it's dead. And it's like the world is walking around staring at the ground. You're like, hallelujah, man. We got the divine life force right now. We are eternal beings on this little rock spinning through space. What are we going to do today? Let's go hiking. Let's make love. Let's go eat some fruit off a tree. You know, let's go sledding, snowboarding, something, four-wheel driving, hiking. Let's go have some fun. Let's be alive. Let's create something. Instead of schlepping our way through this thing desperately. So this is the that's the oxygen. You put the I wish I had more, you know, a little bit more of a deal today, but I don't. And there's some other videos you can watch too. Just watch these other videos, and I went over the protocol a little bit more concise, you know. But I want to make sure that this is more of a biofilm protocol thrown together at the last minute. But you put the oxygen, you put the fulvic minerals. Again, minerals are conductive. What happens when you high heat the minerals? Boop! And what happens when you're a highly conductive electrical being to the parasites, the fungus, the molds, the yeast, the viruses, the bacteria? They don't exist. They can't. You're too electrical. You're pure light. That's what you are. The divine intelligence is pure, lightless, light energy. And that's what you are. And so we're trying to clean away the gunk and the junk and the slime and the sludge and the doubt. As if you have faith, boom, I am. But if you have doubt, if you have stress, see what I'm saying? You're clogged up, you're backed up. So in the juice, this is the ultimate, like this is the ultimate tonic right here. If you gain nothing else from this video, you do a lemon ginger blast or a clean green or the detox juice or any juice that you have that you can afford, that you have access to. And the best is when it's local foods right off the trees or right out of the gardens or right out of the fields where you live. That's going to have the most amount of electricity. I'm telling you, man, people eat. The only thing that this organism really thrives and survives on is the electricity, the life force, the divinity in the food. Everything else does feed these microbes and stuff, but it's the electricity, the life force energy in the food that feeds your life force. Everything else is just poop. So get the life force electricity out of the fresh. These apples are local and they're fresh. So they've got the vibration, the energy, the electricity, the hydrogen, the oxygen, the fiber. It's all alive. It just came off a tree probably like a week ago, which is still quite, you know, I wish it was. Now these oranges are about 4 days old off the trees. But, you know, and as you get out, like what you want is pluck and eat. Well, welcome to paradise, right? Let's go back to Adam and Eve and, you know, we'll pluck and eat. That's where you really get it. And I lived in Hawaii for 6 years, so I was a high-vibing dude. Now I just try to do the best I can with what I got, but the fresher the food, the better your mood, because you're just absorbing all of the goodness and the electricity and the consciousness and the oxygen and the fiber, and it keeps everything clean. It keeps all the pipes clear. And that's what's going on, is everybody's pipes are clogged up. So whatever you can afford and whatever's local and around you, that's what you use your juices for, to take your herbs. And this is the most important. That's not true, but this is the power. This particular one section that we're on right now, I know I'm a long-winded son of a gun, and I'll figure out how to get this down to be like, I'll figure out how to get this down to like 15 minutes. Like, do this, and then I'll write it all down, and then I'll have it. But I'm just explaining everything in depth today. But we've got the oxygen, the fulvic, and then you also take, if I had it here, it was somewhere. Here it is. So this is kind of the ultimate. I take the don't think I can get away with it. Oh, you can. You did. This is how I make, this is what I do. And I'm sorry that I should have had a plan or whatever, but quit apologizing, Dan. You're doing your best. And this isn't bad for bathtub inspiration. One last hurrah here on YouTube before I duck back into my little turtle shell. But what I do is I take a lemon ginger blast, okay? And I've already taken my cleanse by now. Now I take my lemon ginger blast and I add the oxygen. The lemon ginger blast 10.0, okay, is with oxygen from SuperCells and the fulvic minerals from SuperCells, because all the food is like, they don't put a lot back in the soil. It's organic, but it's not like biodynamic, super rich. Microbes are everything, and when the microbes are in the soil and you've got that diversity, you've got better, more wholesome, more mineral rich, higher vibrational foods. Until then, some nice fulvic pulled out of the ground from 10 million years ago, and then knock that back and saturate your body with 70 plus organic minerals. So get to the point, brother. Lemon ginger blast, oxygen, fulvic, a scoop of Liyfzyme. Boom. You've got a lemon ginger blast 10.0, next level, like live off that and become enlightened for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Then you blast your Purazyme. Okay, the difference between the Liyfzyme is that it doesn't have as much. This is a digestive enzyme that actually tastes really good. So Liyfzyme you take with your meals, or you use it like I do in the lemon ginger blast as a supplement because it actually tastes delicious. I like to just eat it by itself. And then you've got the lemon ginger blast, super chronic 10.0, next level like juice tonic. Then you take 8 Purazyme and 8 herbal bloods. Now you're making some things happen. And these things that are in you that love donuts and pizza, because all these fancy foods that are cooked to death with all the different cheese on, it's like a pizza is the prime example. Pizza is biofilm creation, ultimate. The ultimate biofilm creation for sludge and parasites and viruses, bacteria, and lung problems and mucus and colds and flus and COVID, okay, is pizza. Now why? Because you got bread, usually low quality bread with lots of glyphosate, because they sprayed the glyphosate on the wheat to dry it, because the farmers used to have to take like 10 or 14 days to dry the wheat. So they'd be like, is it going to rain? Is it going to rain? Is it going to rain? Please don't rain, because if it's drying the wheat and it rains, bye-bye crop. You done. Maybe a little light sprinkle is one thing, but a heavy rain, goodbye crop. Now, with the glyphosate as a desiccant, it dries in like 3 or 4 days. So but guess what? Now you just done got sprayed with antibiotics. What is antibiotics? Antibiotics are the not probiotics. Okay, that's why we take probiotics to neutralize the unbelievable amount of antibiotics that are not only used by the medical establishment, but also used by the agricultural industry, which is a water soluble. So that means it gets everywhere, into the rain, into the water. So it's like we're dealing with some hard times here, folks. But they use that so there's the wheat with antibiotics, glyphosate, which destroys the beneficial microorganisms and breaks open the gut wall. Then you get leaky gut, inflammation. That's where the blood comes from. The body's trying to seal up all these holes that you're putting in there from the exposure to all these pesticides that are ripping you wide open. First, you got the bread, the bad bread. There'd be like organic spelt bread, soaked, sprouted, and then dehydrated is best. But then they've got like that Ezekiel bread, for example. That'd be a whole new level. But this is a pizza place, and they're going for profit, so it's cheap glyphosate bread. Okay. Now you put on the acidic tomato sauce. Tomatoes that are heirloom tomatoes on the vine from your own garden are alkaline forming. But when you take the tomatoes and you cook them, now you have an acid paste, okay? And probably pesticides on those too. So then you've got the bread, then you've got the acidic tomato sauce. Now you throw in some wonderful mucus forming cheese, low quality probably, with lots of hormones, and probably GMOs, and probably from those GMO sprayed grains that fatten up the cows to feed them to make the high volumes of way too much milk, is the glyphosate and the GMOs. So you got GMO glyphosate cheese with hormones in it, which is going to make you start to question your gender. You see what I'm saying? So you got the plastics that are messing up people's gender's identity, and then you've got the hormones. It's like you're eating all this cheese with this female cow to make the milk huge. You don't know what you are anymore. There's a problem there. That's why you have all this. I'm not insensitive to it. It's actually a very broad subject. In the end, we're all androgynous. But if you want to, that's why there's a lot of gender confusion. But that's such a topic. You know what I mean? There's always a cause, though. This lady was pissed off at me. But there's a cause for autism. There's a cause for cancer. There's a cause. There's a reason. Just because we don't know what that is, if we're not aware of it, it doesn't mean that we're still not going to have the results. But if you're a seeker, you have to find the truth. If you're someone that needs to change, you're like, look, man, I'm 100 pounds overweight and I feel like shit, dude. I got to change, man. Only you can do that. Only you can do that. And if you want to do that, you got to find out what's going on. Why am I doing this to myself? It's not just a mathematical formula of calories in, calories out. It's like why I know I need to stop. Why am I addicted to food? And then that's a rabbit hole. You'll see. Food is the way you love yourself. Food is the way you punish yourself. Food is the way grandma loved you. Food is the way mom loved you. Food is for your serotonin and your dopamine. As food is for a long, hard day. Food is how you connect with people. Food. And that might have been one thing back in the old days when the traditional people sat down and had like one meal together every day. But now it's like 3 or 4 meals. It's all processed, denatured garbage. Okay? So that brings us back to the pizza. Anyways, let me finish that last point. If you're a thinker and you're a seeker, you need to find out for yourself. And no one else can tell you. Guilt and shame and excuses, they don't work. Forget about it. Find out the truth. Make the changes that you can. Forgive yourself for the mistakes that we've made and move on. And try to do better, because you can. You can turn this thing around if you have the persistence and the patience and the fortitude and the vigilance. Okay, so now let's go back to the pizza, because we already had the bread, we had the sauce, we had the cheese, now we got the meat. Now, and the meat is usually low quality as well, with hormones and pesticides and GMO. Can you dig it? So genetically modified pork with nitrates, which is a preservative which will pickle you from the inside out. So you get my point. But now what's the real point behind the pizza for the mucus forming sludge ball that it becomes? Is that the bread cancels out the meat. Okay? So the amylase in the mouth cancels out the protein splitting acid in the stomach. So you've got the bread, which is supposed to be alkaline, then you've got the meat, which is supposed to be broken down in an acid medium, and you got the bread and the cheese canceling each other out. Now add in the acidic tomato sauce and the slimy mucus from the cheese. You've got this whole, it's like paste, like a slime, because the enzymes are canceling each other out. The bread cancels out the meat, and the meat cancels out the bread. Now none of it digested, and you've just got this lump. And then 2 or 3 days later is like a cheese log that comes out. It was delicious going in, Well, what kind of real life force nutrition did you get out of the pizza? You didn't. You got bacteria. You got fungus. They begin to develop those biofilms. The mucus only helps to create that anaerobic environment. And don't forget, the mucus goes to the lungs as well. The dairy products go to the lungs because they go to the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system gets backed up. And then people get sick, and they get colds and coughs and flu, and then like, oh my God, I'm going to die, it's COVID. It's like, no, that's your vital force, pushing all the cheese out of your nose, out of your lungs. You want to get sick. You want to get sick. Unless you live like I do and what I'm suggesting, and that you don't do those things that build up that sickness so that the fever is created, so that then you get the runny nose and the cough to get rid of the mucus, and the fever is coming from the body's ability to raise the temperature to get rid of the overgrowth of now overly exposed in the bloodstream parasites and mostly bacteria. So you see what I'm saying? Now, it's not going to get, the cold and the flu is just to get rid of, because it's an acute response to overloaded system. Now, you might get sick, you might ride it out, blow your nose, cough it out, get it, drink some hot tea or whatever, and then you feel a little bit better. But that's the acute. Now, what about the chronic biofilm mucus? Because it's going to happen again. That's why the crazy hypochondriac that I am is like, I want to get there's a reason why I became who I became. If you could know the story, you would be like, oh, I understand. This guy just, after hell, he wants to be happy and well. Okay, I'm running out of battery juice here, so I better speed it up. So this is very important. This thing here seems a little complicated, but look, people are so down and so sad. It's so sad to see these people that they're going to die when they don't have to. But you don't have to. You can grab it by the horns. You can grab the bull by the horns. It's 2022. It's time to do it, man. You should start planning your 2023 resolutions right now. And by the time you get to 2023, you're already there, because you spent all 2022 preparing yourself, and it never stopped. Your goals don't stop. You don't lose motivation just because, it's 3 weeks in, I was going to not have sugar. And it's 3 weeks later, and you're like, well, I just got to have a donut. It's because you're killing off. And they start putting out all the cravings, because they send signals into your body. Give me some donuts, man, because that's what they live on. Give us some pizza. And sometimes you got to sweat bullets through the fasting and detox process, and eventually they will die off. They'll give you hell every which way but loose, but you have the power to use your mind and not to control, we already decided that, but to guide your mind. To guide your mind, to watch. You're sweating bullets, you're craving, but you're like, I made a firm decision. No more donuts. You've got these little microbes in your gut controlling your life. You need to be the master of the chariot. Can you dig it? And I know it ain't easy. But the alternative is a mediocre at best life, where you did not achieve your best and your brightest. And to me, that's absolutely unacceptable. Can you dig it? So then you can have, this is Gorilla Milk. It is coconut almond yogurt, which I've made 1,000,000 times. You take the coconut, you take the almonds, I got them right here, and you make a coconut almond yogurt. You add the Life Essentials, which has antioxidants, and it has vitamin E, and then you add the Puradyme natural protein, a scoop in there, and that has all 22 essential amino acids, and then you're getting all these amino acids and antioxidants that are not decomposed. So you're getting some really great source of all 22 essential amino acids in a form with not only is it high fiber, but it also has prebiotics, probiotics, and enzymes, and the HGH, human growth hormone, from the goji berries. So now you've got raw, living amino acids. Praise the Lord. Now you're chilling. Because if the amino acids are cooked to death, and the fats are cooked to death, and the carbs are cooked to death, you're just feeding the biofilms over and over again. You want to stay healthy because you want the carbs, you want the good fats, you want the good proteins, but you don't want them dead, so that you start the decomposition and leaving behind the residues in the gastrointestinal tract. So this is the gorilla milk, which is the coconut almond yogurt milk. I take this, I take a couple scoops of this, add in the water of a coconut, blend it, turn it into a milk, and then I add cucumber, celery, apple, kale, and cilantro. Half and half. Half coconut almond milk, half of the juice recipe with the cucumber, celery, apple, kale, cilantro. That is gorilla milk. That is amazing. All 22 essential amino acids. I could live off of orange juice, lemon ginger blast, and gorilla milk. Unfortunately, I'm addicted to salad because that's my way of loving myself at the end of the day. So that's the final phase. Before I'll do the salad, I was going to try to, whatever. I'm DTM. I have no excuse. It just is what it is. This is what it is. I am what I am. This video is what it is. I wish I was better. I see these other professional YouTubers. I am jealous. I'm envious of their succinctness and their plan and their little board and their little perfection. And then there's little old me just kind of like doing this thing that I do, and I don't have all that other stuff. And they're beautiful and brilliant, but maybe I am too in my own crazy way. So I'm just really had to learn how to accept myself and who I am. I want to tell the stories because it seems to I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. I'll shut up now. Okay. There was someone asked. Sorry, it took an hour to tell you about these are my favorite almonds. Any truly raw almond will work, but this is vivapura.com, okay? So these are really super high quality almonds, and you soak them, beautiful. You soak them for about 24 to 48 hours. You can also I just had this extra stuff here just to, if I wanted to play around. I didn't get a chance, but this is also from Viva Pura. These are the true pumpkin seeds. Oh my God, there's nothing better than soaked pumpkin seeds with lettuce. I love lettuce. So my lettuce addiction is next, and that's like the salad. And I'll take like lettuce and carrots and some purple cabbage, and I'll put it all in a nice, this is my mixing bowl right here. So everything fits into this, and then I mix it in there, and then I won't let myself eat anymore. Like when you first start out, you need bigger salads, but as you evolve along the path, you want to be more moderate so that you have good meditations the next day. So this is my beautiful salad bowl, and I actually have two of them because I thought, oh, here it is. Here's the other one. I thought one day I might have a friend over for dinner. I've lived here for 3 months, and I've still never had no friend. Not even one time have I eaten a meal with somebody else. So one of these days, I hope I have a friend, and we get to have a salad together and maybe watch one of my favorite movies, you know. Count of Monte Cristo's a classic. Any of the Lord of the Rings movies, classic. Star Wars, classic. But anyways, one of these days, that's why I bought two of them. And I also have, I'll show you my other thing here. I've got, I'm still getting to know this kitchen. I bought gold silverware. Yeah. Gold knife, gold spoon. Oh yeah, baby. Because I'm the golden child, man, and I love myself, and I am worthy. But no, you do this, then you do this, and then this was just like a little bonus thing, the coconut almond yogurt. But so it's like, here's what it is. And, you know, it's like this. Let me try to, after all this time you spent here, and you're like, get to the point, dude. You do this, the cleanse. Then you do the Purazyme and the herbal blood with the juice. So it's like water, juice, salad. Okay? So I should have said that in the beginning. Here's your biofilm protocol. Water, juice, and then a salad. And you can have water as much as you want, and you can have fruit snacks as much as you want. A whole fruit. If you're freaking out and the donut thing comes up, you can train your brain to go from donuts to oranges. Because believe me, these oranges are freaking epic. And these apples are epic. And this pomegranate, dude, I love eating pomegranates in the desert. Okay, avocados, boo, 2 for $1. Can you dig it? Fruit, whole fruit. Anytime you are freaking out, it's a great way to just to take the edge off. Like a couple bananas, ripe bananas, or a couple apples, a couple oranges, you know. Can you dig it? Finally, is the salad. And like I said, I take the lettuce, I take the carrot, I take the purple cabbage or other cabbage, or, you know, unlimited, but I'm kind of, you know, I'm kind of just the same every night, you know, kind of guy. With a little bit of variation, but pretty much kind of the same, you know, because I just kind of took the onions out and stuff, which I used to put the green onions in there a lot, which is fine, but when you start to get more on the path of yogi, you want to take out the spices and stuff so that you can just, it's more just chill, you know. So then you got your salad, and you take the coconut almond yogurt, and you can put some dill and lemon and sea salt in there, or you can use basil and lemon, or you could do like ginger and turmeric and some black pepper and make like a curry, you know. You can take a habanero and throw it in there and make a nice spicy one. You can make soups out of this. You can make dressings out of this. You can put this on your banana. It's the coconut almond yogurt is the protein source for all the amino acids that is not dead. And it's actually pre-digested. So like a 6-month-old can have this. And that's the secret. Eat like a baby. You know what I mean? Keep your pink. Because we eat all this weird stuff and harsh, and then we get overweight and we get sick, you know. And so I think that's pretty much it. The final phase of the, after all this and all that work and all that sweeping and all that oxygen and all that fiber and all those probiotics from the gorilla milk and the prebiotics and all the probiotics and all the aminos from the salad. Finally, at the end of the night, but you know, an hour or two before you go to bed, you pop these babies. You can chew them up. They're actually really delicious. This is the Pura Life probiotics. And then you simply re-inoculate all the way from mouth to anus with the beneficial and supportive probiotics. I hope I was as clear today, as good as I could be for a last minute dude. So we're working on detoxifying the parasites, the bacteria, the solvents, the microplastics, the brain toxins, the heavy metals, the pesticides, the inflammation, the viruses, the antibiotics, and all the pollutants. All right? So we're dissolving biofilms, and then what we're doing with all this is we are recolonizing the microbiome through healthy, wholesome foods, probiotics, enzymes, herbs. Can you dig it? So stress toxins, nutrient deficiencies, inflammation, viruses, equals the dysfunction of your gastrointestinal tract, which leads to a myriad of different diseases. So, the parasites, the bacteria, the yeast, the molds, they live in the biofilms. So destroy the biofilms and wash them out with colonics and feel better. And watch yourself start to nutrient absorption, get rid of the inflammation, bring the mental clarity back. Just had a couple notes here that I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything important. I think I went over that. Yeah, parasites, bacteria, yeast live in biofilms and create inflammation and disease. And there we go. Dissolve biofilms with cleanse, herbal enzymes, herbal blood, and probiotics. Went over the yogurts, fruits and vegetables, colonics. Oh yeah, a couple other things. I'm glad I made the notes. Yoga, hot yoga is really good, but just yoga in and of itself, the twists and things really help to squeeze and strengthen the intercostal muscles, which then can help to strengthen the functionality of all the internal organs. Rebounding is also really, really good because it tightens up. Any kind of weightlifting, cycling, walking, exercise is obviously good for you. Yoga is particularly good in the case of the biofilms because you're squeezing and twisting and bending and opening, and it just really gets the nerves open. It moves the lymphatic system. What's also really good is the infrared saunas or just hot yoga, so hot yoga is like 2 in 1. You sweat out all the toxins, the viruses and the bacteria and stuff. That's why you never get a cold, because you go to hot yoga every day and it's like 90 degrees in there and you're busting your butt and you're getting flexible, you're twisting, you're strengthening, and you're dissolving and making it so that this virus that's going around, it dies at like 80 degrees, so it's like, come on, man, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's the winter of death, but if you go to hot yoga every day, it's like, and you eat this way, and you eat the low mucus, non-mucus diet, and you do the fasting and the juicing and the fruits, and keep it all balanced. There's a million ways. I could talk for hours. I love it. There's no one right way to do it, but the thing I'm grateful for is that I learned from Dr. Morse, and I love his teachings, and I always have Dr. Morse herbs with me wherever I go. I love Lou Corona's teachings. You see, here's the story I want to tell you before I let you go. This is for the hardcore people who are still here. Robert Morse taught me about the fruit, and I did great, but there was I just started to get a little wonky on the no mucus diet. I was so hardcore fruitarian, I was just a little out of balance. And then my friend Tavis came. Well, let's see. First I met Lou. I met Lou just a little bit before I met Tavis. And Lou was like, yo, man, check out this yogurt. You know what I'm saying? Lemon ginger blast, no problem. I've been juicing every day. I've been juicing every day for 28 years. But I didn't really think about the protein, the amino acids. But Lou, he's a mean, lean machine, dude. He's strong as an ox at 70 years young, dude. It's crazy. But he brought in the protein, the amino acids and the enzymes. Actually, I had already been taking enzymes for many, many years, because the first thing I ever did that changed my whole life, aside from the juicing, was my ex-wife had the algae. And I said, hey, I'm going to, what is this? And she goes, oh, I'm going to take that one of these days. And I'm like, well, let's take it now. And it was a game changer for my brain, the blue-green algae. In fact, I need to get my hands on some of that blue-green algae for after this fast. I'm going to get me some blue-green algae. Can you dig it? Because I love that stuff. Phenylethylamine, it really transformed my life, because I had my family is all depressed, all on drugs and all abuse and everything. And I struggle sometimes too, keeping it together, to be honest with you. But all this that I've done, praise the Lord. Because I'm pretty good, man. I'm not the happiest, most perfect guy in the world with the best life, but I have a really good life, and I'm grateful for everything that came, and the way that I take care of myself and nurture myself and live this lifestyle pretty hardcore because I have to, otherwise I'll slip back. I get to be pretty happy guy. You know, like I said, not ecstatically overjoyed all the time, bursting with bubbly energy, but, you know, I'm not really depressed, and I see a lot of stuff. Anyways, I don't want to bring in my family or anything, God bless them, but, you know, I'm very grateful because the gut and the brain and the drugs and all that stuff, and you just want to live a righteous life as much as you possibly can and align yourself with, I call it God, but it's really just divine intelligence within you. And then if you're smart, you'll see what you do to get in your own way. And then you'll do everything you can to get off that sugar, to get off that fried food addiction, or to get off the drugs or the weed or jerking off every day or yada, 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 yada. You'll see what you do that keeps you from the way. And then if you really get in alignment and you love the truth and you love God, then you will just be like, okay, I can release this stuff. I can release these addictions. I can change. I can eradicate, you know, these and eliminate these things that are holding me back, you know, and purify myself. And I will do it, you know, with your grace, which is the awareness of all the things that you're doing that are slowing you down. And you say, no, this is really messing me up. I'm really strung out on these drugs or this food or gambling or porn or yada, yada, yada. And then your mind, you got to see how your imagination, you think, oh, I'm just playing with it in my imagination, but then it manifests, so you got to clean up your mind. And you can clean up your gut first, then it makes it easier to clean up your mind when you purify. When you're fasting, you don't even think of anything. But then when you start eating again, you're like, oh, I'd like to, you know, do this and that. She looks good, you know. Or, man, maybe I'd like to eat this, or I'd like to go do that. So the food, because the energies, the people that pick it and grow it and cook it and stock it on the shelves is in there. So you got to be careful of whose food you eat and who touches it, and make sure to pray, and who you're sleeping with and who you're hanging around with and what kind of influences you got. You got to be, I mean, it's like 24/7, 365 job here to pay attention and stay awake. But it's worth it because it's the treasure, it's the way, it's life. It's the treasure. And we throw away the one holy, divine, eternal treasure for a bunch of worthless trinkets. And the wiser we get, the more we say, wait a minute, this trinket of pleasure, which is the dust in the wind, is no replacement for the joy of denying myself those short-term pleasures for that long-term joy and bliss of self-mastery. Rising above the child, then rising above the adult and becoming the master. You know, the child is in there, I want. The adult is like, okay, I want, but I'm not willing to die for it, right? Or to suffer miserably for it. And the adult gets a little more mature and more socially acceptable, and then goes and kind of hides and does it in the dark. But the sage comes out from behind her ignorance, and shines and becomes a master. You see? And that's what we're all going for. This life or the next, So we might as well just get her done. We might as well start the path right now. Why put it off another day? Can you dig it? So I think I'm done there. I hope you're blessed. I just want to, it's cool. Like I'm just doing a job. It's a service. It helps me to make money for myself, and it helps me to have a purpose, and it's fun for me, and it keeps me on track, and I actually really learn from myself to stay the course, brother. So thank you for watching these videos. It's just sort of like, I'm just a puppet. Like, for me, what I like is just my own silent self in meditation, where it's just centered calm, peaceful, where I can be with the one that I love. And then as soon as I kind of get up and get moving around, a lot of the old, bio memories get triggered. And then so I got to learn how to stay in the stillness, even in the midst of the activity. And that's the practice, my brothers and sisters. So may you be blessed with great health. I really hope something I said today helped move you forward with your 2022 goals. And I'm gonna be checking out for a minute because I'm gonna do a little short water fast here. And I got a lot of work to do to get caught up on and stuff. So thank you very much for your time, your attention. I hope I made some sense out of all this today. And I'll see you sometime. We'll see. Look forward to it. See, I'm hiding. Come out from behind the enzymes. Hey, what do we got? We got 121. Oh, we should go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we did that one time too, but could I waste 2 more minutes of your time? Let's do it. Let's do it. I know, I'm like the craziest YouTuber that's ever walked upon the face of the earth, dude. Oh, I forgot the walnuts. That's the reason why we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Walnuts. If you can find in-season walnuts that are fresh, like these, dude, I mean, there's so many, it's not like the ones at Whole Foods, it's like whole, dude, like a whole one, and like another whole one, instead of like in a bag at Whole Foods or they're just all half of them are whole. And then, when you get they're all busted up and stuff, that means they're old, and I don't use them. But you soak them, sprout them, dude, coconut walnut yogurt, game changer. Oh, here's what I needed to do. Somebody asked for a yogurt. I didn't get a chance to make that recipe, but without the young Thai coconuts, you take the hemp seeds. Okay, this is what everyone can do. You get the hemp seeds, then you get you can do this to accentuate, to upgrade, or not. That's the raw life and the life essentials. But you take the hemp seeds and you go get the boxed coconut from Costco or any store. They've got the boxed coconut. So all you really need is the hemp hearts and the Life Biotic and the canned coconut water. If you can't get these or can't cut them open, so just 3 ingredients: hemp seeds, coconut water, and the probiotics. And you can make yogurt, and you can do that with the walnuts, you can do that with the pumpkin seeds, you can do that with the almonds. Can you dig it? And then if you want, you add the Puradyme natural protein and the Life Essentials, and that just enhances it to another level. You blend all that up, and then you make your dressings and you make your milks and everything else. You just eat it with your bananas or whatever. So that's one without all that. So it's time for me to go. We did it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 15 seconds left. Any questions? Got any questions? Okay, we're about to bounce up out of here. Thank you all so much. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome 2022. We are out.